loved one with you, and y'all like, ooh, we finna have movie night with MPN. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's happening, y'all? This is Mr. Al Pete. Thank you so much for tuning in. You got your popcorn ready, all that good stuff, your wine, you got your loved one with you, and y'all like, ooh, we finna have movie night with MPN. Straight up though, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're gonna have a good lineup. Again, this is every Thursday, last Thursday of the month. We'll be right here at MPN Network Night. I'm trying to build up some content, trying to just have a bunch of things going on with us so we can bring it to you. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Boom, boom. But no, straight up, Facebook, go to Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood LLC, Twitch, MPN Management, and Mr. Al Pete. That's where you can find the music at, the DJs and stuff like that. You can go to, oh Lord, YouTube, Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood LLC. And it's another spot, I'm forgetting. But nevertheless, if you're looking right now, oh, Twitter, MPN Management. But if you're looking, hopefully you enjoy. Share it with your friends. 7 o'clock, we got my man D, Reduced Lunch. Do you have a minute to talk docuseries? Part 1 be me, the other part be Larry Love. 8 p.m. I'll be DJing some music for the R&B Suite, Groove Suite, R&B mostly mixture. And then 9:30 p.m. Love Reigns with Random Thoughts of Love podcast live streaming. So every Thursday, every last Thursday of the month, we're gonna be right here. You know what I'm saying? Duval County, stand up. Y'all see it? In the old nigga words of Wayne Peterson, to the top. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me again, Dedrick Hicks Jr. From the Reduced Lunch Organization, as Al Pete likes to say. But we're here for something different, something brand new. I've recently picked up the passion for documentation, video, and with me being a photographer for about 7 years now, I guess it was only a matter of time, and I have arrived at that moment, and I just been inspired to document. And there's a lot of people in Jacksonville who I feel, you should be able to click a link somewhere and be able to see and hear what they have to say, you know, creatively, things that give them a headache, things that put a smile on their face, their passion, so on and so forth. And even get a sneak peek into their lives to, you know, I guess see and hear a side of them that a lot of people might not thought existed. So starting this series, and it's titled Do You Have a Minute to Talk? And it's just an inside look, like I said, just people who, you know, who inspire me. And first up is Mr. Al Pete. This man is a staple in Jacksonville, in this community, man. And not only is he a superstar talented DJ, superstar talented rapper, superstar talented overall creative mind, this guy has done a lot for a lot of people here in this city. And, you know, I work closely with Pete with certain things, and, you know, I myself went to go look to see, hey man, let me click on the link so maybe I can learn a little bit more about him and see him. And I really didn't see it out there, you know? And that's where the idea kind of just overlaps. Say, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So here it is. Not gonna keep talking. This is a brand new docu-series. Do You Have a Minute to Talk? First up, Mr. Al Pete. You guys will be seeing a lot more of this. Hopefully I'll be able to lock up these, I guess, interviews or whatever with, you know, the people who I have in mind to do this with. So hope you guys enjoy, and let your boy know how you like it. All right, y'all be cool.
Hey, watch my daddy's movie.
Yeah, I don't even care how my hair looks. What the hell? Yeah. Well, I'll probably be out here like 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Like, okay. That's the perfect time for me to like listen to podcasts, music, all that. Take pride in my yard too. I'd be like doing it all. So the boundary part, I feel like I'm just getting to that position where where I can balance like the personal and the business part of it. So it's crazy. It's funny, my friends and my family, they be like, they still be shocked that I'm a DJ, hip hop artist, this person, you know what I'm saying, in the community, and they like, I would have never thought that you would be that, being the fact that I'm so like such a reserved person. It's like these limits and boundaries around me. So that's been like a real big test all the way up to now. Like I'm talking about like 10 plus years dealing with music and just the stuff in the community. But now I feel like I'm at that point where I can be like, okay, well, I can put myself in a mode where I can be of service to people. But at the same time too, like, okay, well, I have to put these time limits on it. Like, okay, well, we're gonna work from this time to that time. If we need to go further with it, that's fine. But you know, people is so quick to they're so quick to get attached to you, and I feel like people get attached to me because being just straight up, like I don't think people realize, like I don't think people really get the love and like the appreciation and even just the service that I would give everywhere else. They don't have friends, they don't have family that do that. So, you know, once they see, oh, you know, Al is willing to do this, and this, it's an instant cling. And I'm like, and it just becomes where it wears me down a lot. It wears me down like a lot, especially when the person's not like making themselves available to like help me help you, that type of thing. So I finally got to that point where I'm like, all right, cool, I can separate the two. It's a hell of a balance though, like a hell of a balance.
Nigga, all you ever do is see me be a leader.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you sitting right here fucking with.
Alright, yeah, the only word I have is a lot. Like, it means the world to me. It definitely means the world. Um, it was cool to identify that this things in the culture that I'm in, it's a void. Like I feel like it's a void, and it's like, okay, we can keep talking about it and saying what's wrong, or we can like, you know, have solutions for it or try to work upon it. So I treat it like when I make my albums. I treat it like how when I DJ. I treat it like how I be a creative. I'm like, okay, cool. We cool. We created this album. We did this great mix. We killed this event. Um, but after a while, it's like, all right, cool. What's the next step? You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people don't understand the next step. And I'm still trying to figure out these next steps. Um, and I just take really big pride in like the community that I serve. I take major pride in that shit, like major pride in it. Sometimes I feel like I take too much pride in it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, I want my people to be motivated and get the goal. So, you know, me creating this MPN network, that shit just means the world, man. Because a lot of people support it. A lot of people support it. A lot of people want to be a part of it. And I try my best to not let people down. I really feel bad when I feel like I let people down. But that's why, and that reflects the whole. It means a lot to me. I take a lot of pride in it, a lot of dignity in it. You know what I'm saying? You know, anything that comes from me, I try to be as crisp as possible with it. Even in the state of like state of Florida. I mean, that was a dumb entendre. Being a rapper guy right now, in the state of the culture and in the state of Florida, like these opportunities are just not there for us. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody, the world, kind of looks at Florida as this like tropical place. You know what I'm saying? It's all Mickey Mouse, retirement, service, and stuff like that. But when it comes to like my culture that I do, you know, specifically in Jacksonville, it's just not there. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like they're doing what I see other people in other metropolitan areas do. I don't see it. So why not just be a solution to it? And I've done it for a minute. And I've had my feet in here and there. And so let's go to the success part. Like I had to define like what I deem as success. And success is not always being worldwide and being like this world-renowned person. It's not. But you can definitely make an impact on the people that you serve around you. You know, it's a book that I was reading. I can't quote the book right now, but it was basically saying before you try to expand your brand, look at your area code. Like start in your neighborhood and go from there. And I've learned how to like do this whole local growth when it comes to my project. So I had to determine what my success was for me to be like, okay, so this is the level of what it means to me. Does that mean, you know, we need to be on tour like Master P and Diddy and all that? It would be great to. It would, but right now where we're at with MPN, like it started, like the MPN Network technically started January 2020, as far as the network aspect of it. We've been talking about it for a minute. I've been wanting to talk about it 2 years prior. But for me to start January 2020 and, you know, we're in August, and where we at now, dealing with a pandemic, and be able to produce a lot of the content that we've produced within the past like 6-7 months, like that means a lot. And I'm gonna take that victory and I'm gonna run with it. And I want my people to like run with it as well. Like we were able to survive like pandemic and everything got going on, and I take massive pride in that, like massive pride. Like I'm gonna say it again for my people watching. Listen, we're going through a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like this has halted a lot of things. It's mentally messed people up, business wise, personal wise. But we were still able to, the actual MPN company, like we're still able to pull off an online festival. Like we're still able to like make sure that the podcasters are able to have a platform to where they can speak and they can get reached out to the people that support me, you know, all day. We were still able to do that. That shit means a lot to me, man. And just imagine when everything lets up, man, we're gonna be crazy. Like sky's like for us, and I look at it like that. And this is my definition of a lot. That's why I'm just using that simple word a lot. But yo, the fact that we got so many like elements going on. You got RL, you know, I call y'all the RL organization. RL organization. Because this is an organization, like y'all, but y'all have so many components in that. And like I take pride in that. Like I take pride in Adriana's work. I take pride in MJ's work. I take pride in people that's not even on the network. You know what I'm saying? For them to see the example that we got, like that means a lot to me. So MPN Network, it's that whole to the top. That's the definite mantra. Like it's to the top. You know, we killing it during the damn pandemic, yo. I don't think there's no more I can really say on that shit. A pandemic, dog. We put off a week of content. Like, think about that. So just imagine, like, I'm praying that I put so much energy into my people that surround it and in it, to where when the pandemic is over, it's gonna be crazy. Crazy. Mr. Al Pete. Let's break that. Well, let's start with the Al Pete part first. So Al Pete came about because my uncle, growing up, my uncle gave me that name. He, my cousins, my brother, we all had names. The Granny Boys, that's what we call them. Granny Boys plus one, the podcast. Shouts out to that. But like my uncle and my family had like nicknames for us. So my uncle will always call me Al Pete. That's a short of my middle name, my last name, so it's Alan Peterson. So grew up with that for the longest. You know, family called me Al. Not too many people call me Pete. So, but for the most part, it's Al. And when I started rapping in high school, it was just like when I started writing, maybe like 89, 90. So towards high school, like 93, 94, 95, I just kind of adopted the whole Al Pete thing, Al Pete name. And I put Mr. in front of it because I just really wanted the respect, that's all. Just the whole respect. So, you know, that was that whole 17, 18-year-old, y'all gonna respect me. So I just left the Mr. on there. But as far as who Al Pete is, the person, definitely a forward-thinking person. Conscious is all outdoors. Sometimes I think too much into things, but I do feel like thinking too much into things with a little bit of wiggle room is like, it works. It totally works. I feel like a lot of people don't think. They don't put the forward thinking. No, they don't think, and then they don't put the forward thinking in there. And I feel like I add that value when it comes to like the community that I serve, the, you know, hip hop and just the art scene and everything like that. Just being a friend, you know what I'm saying, family and all that. So that's who the thankful part. I feel like I'm like stupid, cool, chill. I do get kind of rowdy a tad bit, but it's only when I have like opinions about certain things and I consume them inside, which makes me think again. But I do feel like I'm just like this real cool guy. I feel like I'm cool, I'm chill, I'm like caring, fun, motivated. I'm always motivated to do like the arts and the music stuff. Anything that I'm involved with, I'm just very motivated and tied into it. So I'm that guy. Business wise. Well, I know I remember making the theme song for the Jacksonville Giants, and well, I'm not sure. I know they're not playing now, but I mean, every time when people go to the games, they will hear my song. They will hear my song, and checks are still being cut for that. That type of thing. So, um, I have to be proud of that. Like I have to state that a little bit more. But the Jacksonville Giants theme song by Mr. RP, produced by Average Joe Productions. That's one to the business stuff. I'm working on some stuff on the side when it comes to the business part. Like I would like to get more into television, so I'm just putting this in the air. But I've been talking with Reduced Lunch about doing a mini series or something like that. So I'm proud of that, man. I'm just gonna put it out there because if I'm putting it out there, it's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. So I'm proud of that part of the business stuff. That's about it in regards to business wise. I have a lot of people I want to work with, but we ain't got that yet. But as far as a personal thing, man, grilling and cooking, man. Well, cooking for sure, but grilling. That's what when my downtime, when I know that I'm gonna have a Saturday and Sunday to kind of just chill and do nothing. I'm making sure I'm marinating. I got chicken right now marinating. I'm just gonna I got a small grill out here. I'm just gonna throw it on that. But I was trying to see if I was should I cook a bunch of chicken? Because I was gonna pull out the big boy, but I was like, nah, I just do a small one. But I do like cooking, and I had to tell myself, Pete, you're so engulfed in this business and your love for what you do. You gotta find something to take you out of that sometimes. And I love shopping. I love shopping for shoes. I'm a shoe collector. Shouts out to Adidas. Holla at your boy. But everything that I like to do is music related. So if I'm watching TV, it's documentaries or music related. It's that, and I need to pull away and find something personal. So my new thing that I like to do, I really focus on and take myself away from is cooking / grilling. I just bought a griddle, and I haven't broken it in yet. It's sitting there looking at me I've been out here for 2 days. When you gonna come work me? But grilling, man, grilling for sure. It's a peace of mind. It gives me a peace of mind, straight up. At some point when the pandemic's over, I would love to do a grilling aspect, crab pots, grilling, you know what I'm saying? I want to do all that, and just have the network come, maybe we go to a park or something. Because I do believe in that part too. I do believe we work hard and we need to learn how to fall back and just really enjoy ourselves away from the cameras and away from my crafts and stuff, and be able to fellowship. I'm real big on fellowshipping when it comes to that. Even though I am a private person, I do believe in fellowshipping. I feel I do feel that helps with the MPN stuff. So I wanna pull the grill out and be y'all finna get this work. Y'all finna get this. You know what I'm saying? How you want your steak? How you want your chicken? Matter of fact, we're gonna put some vegetables on there. I want to do all that so I can show my people that I am human to an extent. You know what I'm saying? They might not be able to get all of it, but they can. The grilling, they can get that for sure. like, yo, you should do a song about this, 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 and this. Or they might be like, the album should be like this. Let's just start recording. Let's just see what the deal is. After a while, ideas pop up in both of their heads. Them ideas come together. Next thing you know, you got a project. The project gets out to the people. The people start believing in you and motivated by you for them to create their own little spots too. So even just in that little circle right there, like, that's power. You know what I'm saying? That's power. That's influence. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take that lightly at all. So all the ideas that I do have, I try to make sure I throw them out and be like, listen, let me make sure that this idea is like perfect. And I know people come to me all the time about ideas. Some of them be cool. Some of them like left field. But I ask a lot of questions before the idea really kind of like goes to the next level, because I understand the power of it. I understand how much power a damn idea has. Like, the influence of just the influence of like a lot of things is crazy to me. People don't understand that, and I feel like that's just one factor that I mentioned. The fact that you can get people to like tie into like your idea and buy into it. We're not talking about getting to the admin side. We're not even talking about all this other stuff. We're talking about the people. And that's another thing I would add to the LP factor. Like, I'm for the people. Like, I'm for the people. I'm for my people. And if you don't realize like that you ain't got that power, if you don't realize the power of like what the words that you say and the things that you can manifest just by an ideal or whatever, then it can quickly die just as quickly as it elevated.
Yeah, I feel like everything else is reasonable. What's something you think you wouldn't think about me?
That I wouldn't think about you?
You wouldn't think yeah, something to the question, like, what would be something that would be crazy in your mind?
Hey, watch my daddy's movie.
I said, see, it's a couple niggas every generation that wasn't supposed to make it out, but they decode the matrix. Mm-hmm. And when they get to speak, it's like a stolen language, or it's like a coded language. Reminds niggas of their strength and all the stolen greatness. Yeah, that's clear, right? I think it means, to me, it's like, you know.
It's just a lot, dog. That's hard. Alright, so I'm gonna start with artists. Greatest R&B artists. I'm gonna say greatest artist of all time, period. But for me, it's Michael Jackson, man. Mike Jack is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, I never knew music until I heard Michael Jackson. I don't care what comes out, Michael Jackson is the greatest artist of all time for me. But I think people obviously will argue that he's the greatest of all time, period. So, yeah. Greatest R&B album. I'm not gonna say a Michael Jackson album, even though I want to. For me personally, I have to go with Confessions. That's my personal. There are greater albums. But Confessions, I mean, it was filled with great writing, amazing production. Even had some guys come and spit. It was a great, some great guys put a lot of work into that project. Some of the greatest writers, still to me, some of my favorite writers wrote on that project. It's still regarded as one of the greatest R&B albums of all time. So I gotta go Confessions, Usher. And then song, I hate that question because it depends on how I'm feeling. Woo! I still don't have the answer. I'm gonna go. I go back to Michael Jackson. I can't pick, bro. I can't pick a song. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna go Thriller though. I'll say Thriller. Michael Jackson Thriller. It was so many elements musically outside of just R&B that influenced that song. So I'm gonna go Thriller. I'm gonna go Thriller. So where am I from? I was initially born on the north side of Jacksonville. We call it Adis. I was born there. I spent like my first 6-7 years there. And then I moved to what we call Mixon Town, right? The beginning of the west side, right outside of the north side. Sits kind of right outside of downtown. It's in a cut, basically. This is the place that I feel like molded me and shaped me into the person that I am. Me and my mother moved here with my grandparents, my grandmother, my grandfather. I think throughout the time we was here, probably like 6 or 7 years. We had cousins live with us. I had cousins across the street, great grandmother across the street. I had my entire family on my mother's side in the house with me or around, like across the street from me, basically. And those lessons that I would say I learned about family, about like going through whatever you go through. Having a family can be a very nasty thing. But if your family loves each other, it can be a very healing thing and a very beautiful thing to unfold. It still can be disgusting, but I'm grateful for my family, man. To this day, man, I don't know where I would be without the majority of them, honestly. So, being from this area, it was a lot of kids in the area at the time when I grew up. Spent a lot of time outside. I mean, if you were born in the 80s or born in the early 90s especially, you know what it's like to go outside until the street lights come on. You know what I'm saying? You know what it's like to not let the good AC out your grandmama's house or your mama's house. But those times, man, like, I learned how to socialize. I learned how to be around people. I learned how to get into fights and not get into fights. I learned how to how to deal with craziness around you and still keep your sanity even at a young age. I learned how to do homework with craziness going on around me and focus. Learn how to focus with craziness going on around me. So I mention my grandfather a lot when I talk about growing up, especially in his house, because me and him spent a lot of time together. Just car rides with him. I went to James Weldon Johnson, which at the time was by that Popeyes on King Street. And it's a magnet school, but in order to get to the school, sometimes you had to catch a couple buses. Like, I had to go catch the bus to Lee, and then from Lee I went to James Weldon Johnson. So like, I had to get up mad early. It should be like super dark around the corner, like around the entire corner, and my mother was at work. So he would walk me to the bus stop like every day. You know what I'm saying? We'd have our little talks. I get back home from school, go to the corner store, play his numbers. But like, we spent a lot of time just talking. And he was a very real and raw person. He probably said everything he said probably I shouldn't have heard, especially the way he said it at my age. But I'm grateful for hearing it because he's not here. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get to see me have my first kid. He didn't get to see me, hell, I got married and divorced, but he didn't even get to see that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get to see me join the military and you know what I'm saying, go to college, but he taught me so much about things I needed during those times. So if he didn't talk to me earlier than he should have, I wouldn't have those lessons. I wouldn't have the understanding that I have now. He just taught us about what it means to be a man, and he was a very flawed individual, I'll be honest, you know what I'm saying? But he knew that. He was honest about that. And he would still tell us, like, I want better for you. he would tell us small stuff like, man, don't drive flashy cars because people out here want what you got, you know. He would say stuff like that. He's like, man, granddaddy, if I get money and I can see a car I want, I'm gonna get it. But he was trying to tell us certain things for a reason. Like, all right, if you live in a certain area, cool. But even that, people are crazy. He was just trying to warn us about like the realities about being in this world. He ain't never go nowhere without that pistol on his hip. Nowhere. But that was his way of protecting us. I got you, son, grandson. You know what I'm saying? Nothing ever gonna happen to you when you around me. Like, I felt very protected and loved by him. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Missing Town, I saw a lot of crazy stuff. You know anything about Missing Town, if you're from Jacksonville, you know, like, it's a lot of stuff going around here. I saw FBI raids in my grandmother's front yard. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the age of 8. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was seeing this stuff often, and it make you ask a lot of questions. But as the child I was and the family I grew up in, like, nah, we don't talk about that. So we talked about it with each other, my cousins and stuff. So, anyways, yeah, I grew up in Missing Town. I feel like it made me a versatile individual because I went to schools that were smart. I was around people that were smart that maybe came from affluent neighborhoods, but I lived in the hood. It didn't feel like it because I was surrounded by love and I had everything I ever needed. You know what I'm saying? But it gave me the best of both worlds. I was a smart kid who was raised in the hood, who wore glasses and looked like a nerd, but you know what I'm saying? Drug dealers, they got me. You know what I'm saying? I'm having real conversations about life with them, you know what I'm saying, as a preteen. And it helped me understand like what it means to quote unquote be book smart and street smart. To understand like those lessons that you learn from that. So yeah, man. Born and raised in Jacksonville. I feel like I was really raised in Mixon Town though. And I spent the rest of my years after that on the south side. But that's why I say those years are so important. Because I learned lessons for myself when I moved to the south side, but I learned lessons, like hard lessons while I was over here. So yeah, man. See, you hear that music? You hear that? That's what I grew up on, man. Real quick, sorry. I mentioned my grandfather. That just made me think about it. Some of the car rides that we took, he would always put me on game. Sometimes he wouldn't even tell me who would listen to. He'd just pop the tape in and we listened. He was playing Al Green. He was playing Sam Cooke. He was playing The Temptations. You know what I'm saying? He was playing Otis Redding. Like that, he always had good music around me. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of started my love for music. So yeah. All right, something that people may not know about me. One of them you might believe, both of them are true, but one you might believe and one I don't know. Some people gonna be like, what? Some people gonna be like, yeah. So one is I actually love hiking, right? I love hiking. I lived in Colorado for some time, and I'm from Florida, man. We don't got no mountains. Like, we got hills in certain places. That's about it. So I moved to Colorado, and my first week there, we went on, it was a work fun trip. And we went on a hike. My first, this had to be my first 4 days there. I was acclimated to the how high we were in the sky already. I had never climbed a mountain in my life. And I'm not talking about a little hike and you end up high. Bro, we was thousands of hundreds of miles. No, it was thousands of miles in the sky, actually. Yeah, it was thousands of miles in the sky. And it was if you look off to the left, you might fall and die type of shit. That shit was crazy. The rocks were kind of big-ish. So that's one. The second one that people might not know about me, and I don't do this often, but I know how to do, amateurly, I know how to do women's hair. I've put weave in women's hair. I've done 2-strand twists. I've done kinky twists. I've done box braids. I thank my grandmother and my ex-wife. I got to shout out to her too, because that's why all of this, it started with my grandma greasing her scalp as a kid, and then that turned into hey man, I just need you to do it. I don't do it, bro, I know. And then I did it. I did a whole head, and I've done a whole head a couple times. So I ain't no hairdresser, but I get your cake test right. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it over here for you. Got 2 enclosures.
Okay.
You see it about like this right here. I used to play them.
Yeah.
But that's when I used to make them windows shake over there.
Yeah.
When we had the black party.
Yeah, I remember.
I still got them 2 enclosures, but I wanted to put. They got these speakers. I always wanted to put them, but I ain't never had time.
Yeah.
But you might have time.
Maybe. I'm busy. All right, so my grandmother's house back there. This is my cousin. Call him Big Man. This is his spot. One of his spots. But yeah, this is his spot. And next door is where cousin Chuck live. Next door, cousin Les. Next door, Bernie got a little church house that he been doing stuff at for years, man. I believe he still do stuff. Right across from there, it's it used to be an old warehouse. I can't remember if they did furniture. I don't think they did baking. It's a spot 2 streets down by the church that did baking, but there used to be a warehouse called Draper's. It's now like a little party club, biker, I don't know, they do something. And then my great grandmother literally lived like right across. My great grandmother lived like right across the way. So my grandfather lived across the way the street from my great grandmother, his mama. You know what I'm saying? And then next to her, that's my auntie Darlene crib. So literally, like, we own this whole block, have owned this whole block for a long time. So yeah, man, it's the hood. It's literally where I grew up. Bust my head, bust my butt, almost crush my knee on a bike on these streets right here, man. Learn how to play street ball, whether it's basketball, football, all right here on this street, man. So this is a very vital part of who I am as a person, who I am as DJ Larry Love, as Larry, man. This part is me. So yeah. Hello, grandmother.
Yes, still the
It started with grade
Baby woke up?
quality chicken.
Baby woke up?
Everything, not just the food, should be grade A.
A is for above and beyond.
Look at you.
A games.
From care
She's like, you
for
stop playing with me.
humanity to cleanliness and safe service without magic words.
You got it going on. You got it. I said.
I'm secretary today.
Saying this when I'm in the shower, like every time, pretty much. Prayers every night. One to my mother, one for my father, and one for the love of my life. I know I probably won't put that. If you decide to leave today, I'll leave tomorrow at the door. Maybe half of yesterday. Forget all hope for the present. We just when we were 5 steps from eternity. Come on, Cisco. God damn, boy. 4 steps past love and breathing. Sound better when I'm in the shower, but ooh, touching the heavens above. What? I'll go through this whole song, but don't.
You better not stop. I want to know your name. Sing my shit.
All right, so R&B mostly. Well, I be smiling cheek to cheek when I think about that shit. So 2015, I was in transition, leaving active duty from the military and coming back to Florida. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, boy, your boy was kind of depressed just because it was just a lot. It was a lot to take in. The reasons why I was leaving were happy reasons, but my life was about to turn into a lot of uncertainty, moving back to Florida. And my gracious homeboy, shout out to Mike Trey, that boy in Italy right now, shout out to you. I'm gonna send this to you when it's done. But he let me sleep on his couch. And not that I needed to, but I was in transition, so I didn't have housing at the moment, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah, you can just stay at the crib until it's time for you to leave. So I'm at his crib, and he had the party spot at the time, dog. Everybody on the base used to all the black people on the base used to pull up to his crib, drink, play cards, talk shit. We just enjoyed ourselves. So I was happy to be around it, and it kind of had me in some high spirits, and I started going to some concerts in the city, in Colorado Springs where I was at. T-Pain used to frequent the city a lot because Denver was an hour away, and I end up, long story short, watching Love and Hip Hop one time, maybe a couple times, and and this white dude named Travis Garland came on the television. That shit just sounded like beautiful music to my ears, so I started following him. And for some reason, maybe a couple weeks later, I found out he was coming to Colorado Springs. So I was like, I'm gonna go to this concert. This nigga, his voice is crazy. Go to the concert and meeting the dude. And we started kind of just chopping it up. It was a very small, intimate setting. So we talked for about 20 minutes. And I just told him where I was from, my military story, and he was like, yeah, man, my parents live in Ponte Vedra. Ponte Vedra? That's down the street. Like, yeah, man, my grandparents. He was like, man, I'm there a lot. And I was like, bro, have you ever been invited to perform out there? He was like, nah, never. Like, shit, I never really performed in Florida. And my mind started running. I was like, damn, that'd be dope if I could start bringing artists to Jacksonville. Okay. So from there, literally sparked the idea of, like, I was listening to a lot of new R&B at the time. August Alsina was kind of just starting to drop. Chris Brown was obviously in the bag like he always is. I think he had dropped Back to Sleep. And I was like, man, a lot of people feel like R&B don't exist. It would be dope if I could create like a little platform to prove that it does. And my event around it will be, I'll start bringing like what I call like maybe C-level, C-list R&B artists, and eventually work my way up to maybe B-list. And bring some of these artists on an intimate setting to Jacksonville, and that'll kind of go with the brand. So I created an IG page. Shout out to R&B Only. I did not know about them at the time, so niggas might think my brand is a copy of it's not. Like I literally ain't never, R&B mostly, the idea behind it was everything I was listening to wasn't really R&B. It was R&B inspired. People were singing, but it might have been trap shit, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, trying to figure out names, and I'm just on Instagram, and mostly it was open. So I was like, that shit sounds dope. Fuck with that. And so I created the IG and started kind of just making like micro blogs. I would post the album and I would talk about it. And IG was a different space at the time, and a lot of like independent artists started like finding my page and reaching out. It was like, hey, we see you writing this up, and I started doing mixes when I got back to Jacksonville. And they started asking me to put their songs in mixes, and that turned into like, started spiraling into this different idea. So the initial idea was just, I'm gonna put these mixes together like I did like a Joe mix. It was all Joe, and I just meshed it together in the program as far as DJing. The idea was like, I'm gonna create this buzz around nostalgic R&B in order to put people up on what I know exists that people don't know. R&B's dead, and it wasn't to me. So kind of fast forward, I become a DJ, I continue to keep the brand going. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make mixes and use the name R&B mostly because that's the brand that I have. And in 2017, DJ Nate was like, bro, you should do an event. And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna do an event, but I gotta have money to bring an artist, you know what I'm saying? He was like, but you ain't gotta bring artists. You can just create an R&B party. And I was like, man, that makes sense. So we tried to do our first one, and the day we were gonna do it, not the actual day, but the physical day we were supposed to do it, looking forward, we found out that Nas and Lauryn Hill were coming to Jacksonville. And that hadn't happened like ever. So I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't want people to have to choose for the first time come to my event because they support me and they rock with me, or going to Nas and Lauryn Hill. Go to Nas and Lauryn Hill. And to be honest, that was probably one of the best things I did. It gave me another year to kind of like get my feet wet more as a DJ, as an entrepreneur, as a music connoisseur. And a year later, December. I want to say the day it was December 18th. I want to say it was right before Christmas. 2018, man. We did our first R&B Mostly event. It was a smash, and every single one since then has been amazing. So shout out to Nate and Al Pete. Both of them really pushed me to create it, to take the brand and create a different event than what I saw. If you've been to R&B Mostly, you know it's 80% R&B and 20% Mostly. The Mostly consists of whatever we felt like playing at the time. Twerk music, Jay-Z, like dance music, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Soca, Afro beats, salsa, bachata, whatever we feel like playing falls into the Mostly, and then we go back to the R&B. It's a little different than your normal party. Your normal party, the R&B is kind of the time where you chilling. Go get your drink, grab your lady, hang out. Nah, the party is around R&B. You're gonna dance and sing at the top of your lungs to R&B. So that's the condensed version of R&B Mostly, because I can talk about that shit all day long. A top moment for R&B Mostly, I'll say two of them. The first moment was when I saw R&B Mostly becoming like people started reaching out to me, like independent artists from all over the country at the time, was showing me love, you know what I'm saying? It made me realize, like, damn, the reason I wanted to do this is like happening, and this was very early in the idea of R&B Mostly. I would say my second favorite moment was, I want to say that was October 2019. I just came back from deployment, Middle East. It was my first R&B Mostly while I was back. R&B Mostly kept going while I was away. Shout out to my team, Al Pete and Nate. I appreciate y'all for real. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody who held that shit down while I was gone. It was a lot to happen, and y'all really took it the way it needed to go. But the feeling of coming back home to a entirely packed venue and people like championing me for being gone, but for the moment of celebrating R&B and that they're there and I'm the reason that they're there. And that's not for me trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, take credit for the shit. But like that moment was super surreal because I'm looking out at the crowd and I'm like, damn, like all these people are here because of an idea I had sitting on the couch. You know what I'm saying? Like I was down in the dumps when I created the idea. Music was the only thing getting me through. So like, man, that was probably the most lit R&B Mostly we had. The drinks were flowing and the vibes were perfect. The lights were, man, yeah. That was top 2 moment for me. So yeah, that's my story about R&B Mostly. Keeping it short anyways. Yeah, that's it. So, how did I become a DJ? The technical answer. I've been in the military, the Air Force specifically, since 2012. Served in different capacities, and I made a transition to be closer to my son in 2015. And when I moved back, I had a lot of free time. Like, I didn't have as much custody as I have my son now. And I just had a lot of free time. I'm a night owl. I'm up at night, and I linked with this dude named Lorenzo. Shout out to Lorenzo. He was doing, at the time when I linked back up with him, he was doing a Christian radio station. I think it might have been WCGL. I think that's who it was. That might have been somebody else. I can't remember. Maybe it was Pure Radio. And he started having me come to the studio, just kind of chopping it up with him, hanging out. I'm a music head, you know what I'm saying? And he was doing his show remote in the studio, We were pre-recording it and sending it to the station. And he would play songs for me, and it was like this real like, his show was kind of like neo-soul Christian-y. So he would play like Music Soul Child and then a little Mary Mary behind it or something like that. And when he was playing some of the songs was dope, but the quality was trash. So I was like, bro, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I'm using this program and I'm ripping it down. And I was like, bro, you know you could just do this and rip it like that. And so that started me helping him do that. And from there, I would suggest songs, and that turned into him having me in the studio like late night all the time. And I became basically like his music director kind of. And at the time, he was trying to revamp his brand, Soulbox Cafe. And it was basically what he was doing on the radio, but it was an actual event. So, you know, we talking and I'm giving him ideas. We just talking, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, you know, it'd be dope if you DJ'd it. He just looked at me. And I was like, nigga, I ain't no DJ. Like, what you talking about? Like, he was like, I mean, but you know music and you can DJ. If you know music, you know, whatever. So I ain't think too much about it. I think like a couple days later, I was like, that would be pretty cool. Had a little money. When it bought me a little Newmark controller. And at the time, I had kind of already started R&B Mostly. But R&B Mostly was just like, I would take a program that I bought, Personas at the time that I bought with a mic, and I would just put tracks in there and kind of just blend them in and put my voice on it. So it wasn't too far-fetched, so I bought a controller. That turned into me downloading more music. That turned into me learning how to blend music with a controller, and then I had my very first DJ gig, a New Year's Eve party. How in the hell is your first gig as a DJ in front of actual human beings a New Year's Eve party? Any DJ who's ever done a New Year's Eve party, I don't care if it's 20 people or 5,000 people, you know New Year's Eve is a huge, huge night. And people who don't party all year come out on New Year's. Them transitions better be on point. You know what I'm saying? Like, that music select, this is my first gig. To me, I did terrible. But to the crowd, they loved it. We went into the new year, people was toasting. They rocked with, I think the song I chose was, I don't even know the actual name of the song, but this is for my number one, fucking LL Cool J, for real. That was the song I played at midnight, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how I became a DJ. From there, people saw it, and I ended up DJing with a band that was starting, and people started asking me for mixes and this and that, and I don't know, I just started building my confidence on it, started sharpening my tools and learning what it means to actually scratch and what it means, the art of DJing, and I started really becoming a student. And then I got around great guys like Al Pete, DJ Nate. I started rocking with some of the DJs here in the city. They weren't really fucking with your boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you that face. Y'all know why. But I'm grateful because I linked with some of the greatest guys I could have ever linked with and built my own brands from the ground up with some great guys. So yeah, that's the quick story, of how I became a DJ. Yeah. Let me go. One thing I don't like, I don't fucking like chitlins. They stink, bro. Like, I don't. First of all, when you think about chitlins, we're talking about, I know we eat a lot of weird stuff, but we're talking about like the insides, literally the insides of an animal. Like, we ain't talking about the meat, we ain't talking about the flesh. I get it, people will get weirded out by flesh. We talking about like the dookie hole and all that stuff. They stink. I don't even care how they taste. I've never tasted them. I've been around them my entire life. I don't like chitlins. I don't understand people who eat them. Your mouth probably smell like boo-boo. I ain't trying to come at y'all who eat chitlins. I don't get it.